gonna rock it good in your neighborhood. Jive Talkin with Shane D. Get your heavy metal news rocking for free. Jiving out, jiving strong, talking about the news, baby, let's go. It's news. Welcome back to another episode of Jive Talkin with Shane. Oh, let's get that seat down. Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo, episode 42. Welcome, one and all to hard rock and heavy metal news that you can find pretty much anywhere. Well, I find it just right on the internet, and then I read it to you. With maybe some side notes and your comments at the end of each episode. Isn't it so fun? Very quick thing. A couple things that I want to mention before we get into this interesting story here is a relationship. Afghani man that works at the 7-Eleven by my house. We've always been cordial to each other. Hello, my friend. How are you? And everything else. He's always lights up. He's always happy when my friend. Hello. Today something serious happened. I went down to get a coffee. My day off. Went to get down to get a coffee, and this guy swung in for a full open arm hug. Both arms, the wingspan spread. My friend, smiling ear to ear, comes in and gets the deep, deep hug. I need to know what I do to not turn the feller away from, our friendship that's blossoming, but to step it back a notch. Because I had to just go in for the deep hug. And now I feel like with this particular person, it's going to be an everyday thing. And that gets embarrassing when you get into the 7-Eleven. There's 15, 20 people in there. And, this man wants to come up and give you a deep hug right there. Also, another thing that I wanted to mention, and if I remember, I'm going to put this in the description below. But you have got to hear this interview. The show is called the Mitch Lafon and Jeremy White Show. And I checked their respective YouTube pages, and the full interview is not there. And you've got to listen to this amazing interview with Chris Holmes, complete with hacking and spitting. He's free of the cancer and stuff, but he tells you that he's had an issue with it. But there's a lot of gobs and spitting and coughing up and choking up in the interview. At the very end of it, he goes off on how we got to do another interview where he talks about the speedballs and all the drugs that he's done. This interview is one of the greatest interviews I ever heard in my life, because I don't know that these two dudes know what to do. I'm not sure that they're completely super familiar with anything Wasp has ever done, for one. And I don't think they knew exactly how to handle a fellow like that. And he's an amazing guy. I love Chris Holmes. And he's a shoot from the hip kind of a guy. And so you have got to go listen to that interview. It is on Spotify. I'm pretty sure it's on all the places where you'd listen to podcasts. But look it up. It's Mitch Lafon and Jeremy White, Chris Holmes interview. And you will just be amazed. And then at one point he says, so, hey guys, I'm going to be up there in Canada. You guys want to come and they're kind of, sure. Yeah, that's, we could meet up and I could meet you guys and stuff. Sure. That sounds like a good idea. Okay, interesting. So just listen to it, because you will just enjoy each and every moment of that. Let's get into this. Randy Rhoads didn't have a nice thing to say about Eddie Van Halen. And I could see where two guitar madmen of the 80s would maybe not, have much in common, right? If you're trying to shred the world up and you got another guy shredding along with you. In a new interview with Rolling Stone, Ozzy Osbourne discussed the supposed cross-town rivalry Randy Rhoads, the first guitarist of Ozzy Osbourne, worked with after Black Sabbath, had with Eddie Van Halen. Rhoads' pre-Ozzy band Quiet Riot had been gigging on the Sunset Strip in West Hollywood, California at the same time as Van Halen. Okay, so this is pre-Ozzy. Although both Rhoads and Van Halen later became some of the most influential guitarists of the 20th century, playing with similar flair and incorporating finger tapping into their fleet fingered solos. Jesus. Eddie found commercial success before Rhoads, due in part to the fact that Van Halen landed a record deal years before Quiet Riot did. Who's this talking? I heard recently that Eddie said he taught Randy all his licks. So Jesus, I heard recently that Eddie said he taught Randy all his licks. He never. Ozzy Osbourne told the Rolling Stone. To be honest, Randy didn't have a nice thing to say about Eddie. Maybe they had a falling out or whatever, but they were rivals. The rivalry between Rhoads and Van Halen was explored in the documentary Randy Rhoads, Reflections of a Guitar Icon. I've never seen that. I would love to. I never even knew that existed, which was released this past May. The film contained archive audio of Van Halen discussing Rhoads, saying he was one of the guitarists who was honest anyway, because he said everything he did he learned from me. Oh, that must have been Eddie? He was good, Van Halen continued, but I don't really think he did anything that I haven't done. And there ain't nothing wrong with it. I've copied some other people, you know. Randy's friend, Kim McNair, also spoke out about Rhoads Van Halen rivalry in Randy Rhoads' Reflection of a Guitar Icon, reflecting, "This was the years of guitar heroes. To a large degree, bands were judged on their guitar player. I think all the guitar players in town kept up on each other." Meanwhile, Quiet Riot fan club president Laurie Holland said that at some of the band's earliest shows, we would see David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen there, which was always interesting to me because I know Randy never went to see them play. But they would always come to see Quiet Riot and Randy play. Elsewhere in the film, Rhoads guitar tech Brian Reason recalled how he used to stick a picture of Eddie Van Halen to Randy's wah pedal. He wasn't very excited about it, but it was in the perfect place, Reason explained, because every time he stomped on his wah-wah pedal, he stomped on it as if he wanted to crush it. So he had a picture of Eddie Van Halen on his wah-wah pedal, and he could go over there and step on Eddie Van Halen's face anytime he wanted to. Rhoads and two others were killed on March 19th in 1982 on a small plane they were flying in a Flying Baron estate in Leesburg, Florida, struck Osbourne's tour bus, then crashed into a mansion. Rhoads was 25 years old. In his biography, The 9 Lives of Ozzy Osbourne special, Ozzy stated about first meeting Rhoads after his departure from Black Sabbath, I knew instinctively that he was something extra special. He was like a gift from God. He worked so well together, Randy and I. We're like a team. One thing that he gave to me was hope. He gave me reason for carrying on, Ozzy added. He had patience with me, which was great. He was great to work with. He pulled the best out of me. We had a lot of fun. Rhoads' death had tremendous impact on Ozzy's life. I lost a dear friend in my life. I miss him terribly, Ozzy said. I just bathe my wounds with alcohol and drugs. The day that Randy Rhoads died was the day part of me died. Oh, that's. I mean, how long were they together? I would be curious about that. Put that in the comments. Exactly how long? I mean, I guess you can go back and do the math on when he joined the band and the records that he had was there for, right? We got another one here. Wasp, Blackie Lawless, still doesn't give a damn what people think. And that's the really right attitude to have. You shouldn't really care what people think. In a new interview with Metal Edge magazine, Wasp leader Blackie Lawless was asked how he plans to stage a real deal Wasp show to celebrate the band's 40th anniversary. With the existence of cancel culture, is this him speaking now? With the existence of cancel culture and work culture, he responded. That's a complicated question you just asked. Because first of all, I'm not going to even consider a woke culture. That has nothing to do with my world, you know? If that's what somebody wants to do, that's their privilege, free country. But our fan base is our fan base. So one of the things I learned a long time ago is that if you're going to have a genuine career, and when I say a real career, I'm talking about somebody that does it for a lifetime. I'm not talking about somebody that just makes records, and that's okay too. In pop world, that's fine. You know, that's what people want. But if you're going to have a genuine career, I'm not talking about somebody that's around for 5 years or 10 years. I'm talking about somebody who's around for 20 years or 30 years or longer. What you're saying, in effect, is you're going to take the fan base on a lifelong ride. And if you're going to do that, you have to have an intimate relationship with them. And if you don't have that intimate relationship, they will never feel like they know you. Oh, he continues here. You've got to be willing to crack your skull open and let them come inside and walk around barefoot inside your head. You really do. And the only way you can do this is with lyrics. Like the ones where he's talking about dirty balls. Kill, fuck, die, dirty balls. There was a song called Dirty Balls I heard the other little while back. I was like, dirty balls? We can do interviews like this and it helps considerably. I mean, people get to know you a lot better that way. But the lyrics are where they're really going to get to know you. Because that's what they're listening to most of the time. And so to do that, you've got to be willing to share parts of yourself. That's a lot of artists just aren't willing to do. Let them get in there inside that brain of yours and walk around. It's in the nooks and the crannies. The nooks and the crannies, and find the good and the not so good. One more paragraph here. Let's read this one. And so the idea when you take people on the lifelong ride, they look at you. They look at what you wrote 30 years ago and they go, oh, wow, look what he was thinking, Blackie added. And they listen to something, whatever the last thing was that came out, and they go, oh, wow, look at what he's thinking now. So this is the intimacy where you take people and you are literally communicating with them over the course of this journey of life. So trying to do anything from the standpoint of being influenced socially would do me no good. Or anybody like me that does this, you have to be true to yourself. I mean, we got into this not giving a damn about what people thought. So why should it be any different now? Yeah, I agree with that. So he really put the nail in that, didn't he? Hey, Rikki Rocket, guys. Rikki Rocket and his wife, is this his wife? They're sleuths. They're investigative sleuths. I wanted to read up on this and find out what was going on, how Rikki Rocket and his wife caught a poison scammer. Ooh, I'm going to guess someone was making poison t-shirts or something. Poison drummer Rikki Rocket and his wife TC have shared a 13-minute video, oh boy, on social media in which they offer a step-by-step account of how they caught a poison scammer. The person in question was allegedly pretending to be Rikki's personal manager and contacting Rikki's fans via Instagram and other platforms and asking them for money in exchange for opportunities to meet the drummer in person. I would be damn curious as to how many people signed up on that one. In a statement accompanying the YouTube release of the video, Rikki wrote, 100% throw and go video because it just needs to get out right now. Yeah, a scammer. This nasty little scammer will take $200K from you and not even bat an eyelash if you let him. Let's take him down. So he hit somebody up for $200K because I wouldn't. Is there anything that Rikki Rocket could do that was worth $200K that you'd be going, I'm signing up right now? I mean, I don't care who it is, Rikki Rocket or Elvis Presley. Would you do something if Elvis Presley was still alive for that kind of money? This is not the first time Rikki's name has been used in a scam. Back in 2008, a rape charge against him was dropped after authorities determined that the Poison drummer was not in Mississippi at the time of the alleged crime. Authorities later said they were looking for a man with a history of passing himself off as a rock musician to pick up women. There's another story I was going to do here real quick, but I'm not going to do it today. But it was on Bruce Dickinson talking about, groupies and how the first time you really realize that you have control over people is when you can manipulate them into going backstage with you. So Rikki and T.C. Smith got married in April. Oh, bless your heart. Attending the ceremony, which was held at the Granada Theater in Santa Barbara, California, where Ricky's Poison bandmates Brett Michael and Bobby Dahl, as well as Cinderella drummer Freddie Curry. Oh, they were there? Rikki was previously married to singer-songwriter Melanie Martell. They share joint custody of their 2 kids, son Jude Aaron Rocket. Hey, Jude. I bet he does that all the time. And Lucy Sky Rocket. Lucy Sky Rocket in flight. Pew, afternoon delight. Rocket was declared cancer-free in 2016 after undergoing an experimental treatment. He was diagnosed with oral cancer. Jesus. Well, I'm gonna have to be getting the WebMD after this to find out if I got that. I'm a freakoid about that. You get Googling, you're like, I have all this stuff. Poison reunited original line. Okay, I don't want to see that. Do we want it?
Hey guys, it's Rikki, the Poison drummer, also known as. And this is going to go on my YouTube channel. We're shooting vertically because it's going to go on all my social media. So if you thought that because the Poison Stadium tour was over, that my life was going to get boring, I think you're in for a surprise.
She says, honey, sister, child, no wait.
So make sure to smash the subscribe button and notifications and give this a thumbs up if you like it. Funny,
come on.
Because people get scammed every day, but we are going to try to have some fun with this because if it wasn't so tragic, it would be fun.
Come on!
Anyway,
So basic gist is there is a couple of scam people that have been going down and contacting privately everybody that leaves comments on Ricky's posts.
Oh boy. Okay. So don't do that. Okay. I don't want to sit and listen to him rattle on about it. Do not do that. If someone's contacting you, especially me, I'm not going to contact anyone, DM anyone, or anything like that. But anyone that gets a hold of you and says, hey, I could get you backstage at Alice Cooper if you want to just send me money. Don't click links. I don't click links. My mother could send me a link in a text message. I won't click it. I don't click link. Don't do that. Don't believe everything you see right there before your eyes. Okay. Look at this guy. Look at this handsome man. Is that a handsome face? Vinny Appice. I love this drumming dude. He's a pocket drummer, what I call a pocket drummer, because it's not super flashy with his drum rolls and all that, but he plays so tight and delicious that you're just like, God damn, dude, you're good. But I wanted to see what he was saying. Vinny Appice on why he hasn't been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because they're a bunch of fucking assholes. I mean, that's pretty cut and dry. Next story. No, original Dio drummer Vinny Appice has once again said that Ronnie James Dio should have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I 100% agree and stamp that and notarize that and agree with that. If you care about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and it means any kind of something to anyone, I would say Ronnie James Dio should have been in there years ago. If you don't care about any of that, it doesn't matter. The legendary heavy metal vocalist, best known for his work with Black Sabbath, Rainbow, and his own band Dio, died of stomach cancer 12 years ago at the age of 67. And they just did the 80th birthday party for him, which made me wonder, have they done a 76, 77, 78, 79? Have they been doing them every year? Vinny, who played with Ronnie in Dio, Black Sabbath, and Sabbath offshoot band Heaven and Hell, spoke about Dio's exclusion from the Rock Hall during a recent appearance on the Talkin' About Rock podcast, speaking about why he and Dio were both left off the Sabbath rock and roll induction in 2006. Is that true? They're not involved in that? It was just Tony, Geezer, Bill, and Ozzy that got in on that? That's kind of shit, isn't it? God, I just listened to Die Young the other day again. It's so goddamn good. Dio. People get mad at me when I say I like Dio. I mean, I love Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath and all that. I get it, but I really, really like the stuff that Dio did with him. I've always been a Dio nut kook. Speaking about why he and Dio were left out of the Black Sabbath Hall of Fame in 2006, Vinny said, because they're a bunch of fucking assholes. I mean, Sabbath wasn't in it for how long? They finally got in it 16 years ago. I've been to the place, and there wasn't really much of Ronnie in there either, he continued. It's like, Ronnie, come on. Rainbow, Man on the Silver Mountain, Long Live Rock and Roll, and then Sabbath, Heaven and Hell album, and the rest of the albums we did, and then Dio, and he's only in there for this 12-inch square placement or something? What does that mean? There's like a 12-inch spot that they've got Ronnie? They don't mention me. Hey, you know what? I've been around. I'm still around all of these years. I guess it doesn't count for anything. After one of the other guests mentioned that Dio's debut album, Holy Diver, had influenced an entire generation of rock musicians, a piece added, that should be in it. That should be in it. I meet people like, oh man, Holy Diver, Dave Grohl, he was totally influenced by that album. He even went to the Sound City studio to record their album Nirvana because there was a platinum Holy Diver on the wall. And they said, that's it. We've got to record here. This album was done here. It was great influence on so many people. A piece previously touched on Ronnie's absence from the Rock Hall in a 2020 interview with Jeff Gudiosi of MisplacedStraws.com. At the time, he said, well, I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame sucks anyways. It's supposed to be rock and roll, and there are people in there that are not rock and roll one bit. Is he with Gene Simmons on that? Because Gene says that, you know, there's certain people in there that shouldn't be in there. And just the way they do business, it took them that long to put Black Sabbath in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Black Sabbath started all of this heavy stuff. Black Sabbath started the tuning down and affected everybody, and everybody copied it. And here's a band that started all this stuff, and yet they weren't in it. So I wasn't expecting them to induct Ronnie and I. They should have, but they didn't, so I think they suck. He continues, I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame once, and it was a fricking joke. And Ronnie should have been in there even by himself. He should have been inducted. He's been in all these major bands, major albums, and he's not in there. It's sad. I don't even care that they didn't induct Dio, the band Dio, but they should have did him and mentioned us. That would have been nice. I mean, Holy Diver is 40 years old and is still selling. So that's a joke, that whole thing. Yes, indeed. Should we, real quick, go back and see what else they're blabbing? See if they...
To want to meet up. And in this pressuring, they finally said, I'm going to have my record label contact you to set up this meet and greet. The label they used to contact with, Poison, is not signed to. They're not signed to this label. So there should be no one from a record label contacting you or anyone else on Poison or any Poison member's behalf, much less Rikki's. Are we adjusting for the beauty process?
Yeah, just a little bit.
We're adjusting for the beauty.
We got a lot of space up here.
Okay, so pretty much.
God save the Queen. She ain't no human being. Do you remember last time when I thoughtfully, I says, rest in peace to the Queen? I mean, legendary Sex Pistols, right? Johhny Rotten and those guys. They put out Nevermind the Bollocks, and it was they had God Save the Queen on there. Well, they had they put out a couple of things. Jonesy there and Johhny Rotten, they put a little thing on their social media saying rest in peace or whatever. But now, old feisty guy, and there's a great video you can go look. Just hunt down John Lydon or Johnny Rotten groceries, getting his groceries, because you can watch like a 10-minute video of Johnny Rotten. Just putting groceries in his car. Extremely slow. And it's a nice little bright green Nissan or something that he climbs inside of. And he's having some snacks and stuff. But you can watch that on your own time. Sex Pistols, Johhny Rotten accuses bandmates of trying to cash in on Queen Elizabeth II's death. A spokesperson for Steve Jones and Paul Cook has... Oh, boy. So they're firing it up on each other. A spokesperson for Steve Jones and Paul Cook has released the following statement to Blabbermouth regarding Lydon's comments. We cannot understand what he would be referring to, other than a couple of requests for use of an image or audio in news reports on the Queen. and her impact on culture. There's nothing new relating to God Save the Queen being promoted on or released in any way. I want to know what John said. The original article follows below. John Lydon, known as Johhny Rotten, when the Sex Pistols sneered their 1977 anti-monarch anthem God Save the Queen, has blasted his bandmates for cashing in on Queen Elizabeth II's death. Roughly 45 years after Rotten penned the words God Save the Queen, the fascist regime, and God Save the Queen, she ain't no human being, he issued the following statement via social media. John Lydon wishes to distance himself from any Sex Pistols activity which aims to cash in on Queen Elizabeth II's death. The musicians in the band and their management have approved a number of requests against John's wishes on the basis of the majority court ruling agreement. So Johhny Rotten owns all things Sex Pistols. In John's view, the timing for endorsing any Sex Pistols requests for commercial gain in connection with God Save the Queen in particular is tasteless and disrespectful to the Queen and her family at this moment in time. John wrote the lyrics to the historical song, and while he has never supported the monarchy, he feels that the family deserves some respect in this difficult time. I mean, she was like 90-something, right? As would be expected from any other person or family when someone close to them has died. I just feel like, I mean, I'm not, that's wonderful that she made it into the 90s, but usually you're going, my God, they're still going. Someone gets up to the 90s, you're going, good on you, buddy. You made it another day. After Queen Elizabeth II's death a week ago, Lydon shared a short tribute on Twitter, writing, "Rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth II. Send her victorious." Send her victorious is a line from God Save the Queen. The short statement was accompanied by a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, the same image featured on the cover of the Sex Pistols single. So he's doing the exact same thing that he's telling them that they shouldn't be doing. Right? Because he's using lines from the song and then putting up the image that was the album cover, but he's going, you ain't bleeding gonna do anything about the Sex Pistols right now. I don't think so. I'm gonna do it. If anyone's got to make a little bit of green beans off it, it's gonna be me. This past June, to mark the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, London penned an op-ed in which he wrote, God save the Queen, she put up with the lot. I got no animosity against anyone for the royal family, never did. It's the institution of it that bothers me, and the assumption that I'm to pay for that. There's where I draw the line. It's like, no, you're not getting ski holiday on my tax. Lydon also reflected on the Sex Pistols anthem Anarchy in the UK, saying, anarchy is a terrible idea. Let's get that clear. I'm not an anarchist, and I'm amazed that there are websites out there, .org anarchist sites, funded fully by corporate hand, and yet ranting on about being outside the shitstorm. It's pretentious, I say. At the time, God Save the Queen's original release, the song was criticized for being anti-monarch and was even banned on the BBC radio stations for its lyrical content. Sex Pistols guitarist Steve Jones previously spoke about the song's connection to the royal family. Jones said, I never had any connection to the monarchy, to be honest. It meant nothing to me. Still doesn't. He said the lyrical content, to me, it was just a laugh. It was a giggle, man. I didn't realise it would offend a lot of English people. They took it personally. It was a stab against the Queen. Lydon said in May 2022 interview with Piers Morgan that he was actually really proud of the Queen for surviving and doing so well. He told Talk TV and the God Save the Queen with anti-royalist, but it's not anti-human. I've got to tell the world this, he added. Everyone presumes that I'm against the royal family as a human beings. I'm not. I'm actually really proud of the Queen for surviving and doing so well. I applaud her for that. I feel like my Johhny Rotten's changed a little bit since the first time. And that's fantastic achievement. I'm not a curmudgeon about that. More than a year ago, Jones and the Sex Pistols drummer Paul Cook blasted Lydon for his disparaging comments after he lost a legal battle over the rights to use the band's song in Pistol, a 6-episode limited series about Jones. Really? Jones and Cook argued in court that an agreement they signed with Lydon meant decisions regarding licensing requests could be determined on a majority rules basis. Well, if I got fingers, Johhny Rotten, and then you got Steve and Paul Cook. So 1 and 2 fingers and 1 and 2. Lydon, for his part, claimed that the band member agreement had not been applied since it was signed more than 20 years ago, and that all decisions about the use of Sex Pistols music imagery had been made with unanimous agreement. However, a judge ruled that the contract was valid and active, and that the majority of the band could overrule any individual member's veto. See, and there's the image right there. John Lydon wishes to distance himself from any sex... And there's the image. God save the Queen. She ain't no human being. All right, you guys, we're going to get into your comments. And just out of the gate, there's no Mike Buchanan jokes. I don't know. Maybe he's stonewalling us or something. I don't know. But you got Zeus of Altar coming in here. He's got a good one. Did you see the article where Mustaine said he was the alpha male in Metallica back in the day? I did, and if you're watching this right now, then you know I put up a video on Friday talking about that. A real step back for him in his recovery from letting go of the past. He should call up ex-Beatles drummer Pete Best, who got dumped before the band got signed. That's always a bummer, isn't it, man? When you hear about someone that's taken out of the... Well, I mean, it's like a Dave Mustaine, you know, removed from the band and then they become uber ultra stars. The band could be called Second Best. The new Ozzy album is very good, especially the Iommi and Jeff Beck collaborations. You were talking about popcorn at the Ghost Show. I just went to Roger Waters and there was popcorn there too. I find it strange for a rock show. I remember watching a live Elvis VHS from a 70s era concert, and there was a montage at the beginning of people buying drinks, and they showed popcorn popping in the machine. I found it kind of funny at the time, but now it has come full circle. Bizarre. Yeah, I had never seen popcorn at a concert before until that Ghost Show. And I want to even say the bag had the Ghost logo on it or something. But it was just weird. And you know, with all the pandemic crap and everything else that went on, it's like, you know, I'm watching people. There's 2-3 people digging their hands in there, and then you touch the dirty seat you're sitting in or the railings or whatever, and then you go, yummy, mar, yummy, yummy. Yeah, it was just unbelievable. There is your heart, Oscar Salvador. He's got 2 here. Rumors of the Megadeth encore performance for the concert 920 in Syracuse, New York include the song When the Children Cry. Are you kidding me? Performance of the concert on 920 in Syracuse, New York will include the song When the Children Cry. Oh my God, I gotta hear that. White Light. James Lomenzo got back in touch with Mike Tramper recently, and Dave Cumstain, oh my goodness, agreed to adding the song to the set list. So this is not a joke. They're going to do When the Children Cry, because I absolutely need to see that. Here's your heart. I love breaking news like that. Oscar Salvador again here. Ozzy said earlier, as he was selling his house in California because of the outrageous taxes imposed by the state, not sure how he and his bully wife in their gated mansion feel threatened by gun violence, or why he is getting on a soapbox. Adios, muchacho. Okay. Bye, Oscar. Mike Binkowski here. We got a few of his requests coming up. Hi, Shane. My suggestion, another Polish band, Magla, M-G-L-A, means fog. Exercise and futility. Dark Side. Drummer is a different level. The man is crazy. All the best from Poland. He's from Poland here, Mike Binkowski. We love him. I'll check that out, okay, buddy? You're getting a heart for the comment, but this is, you know the shtick. Bobby Lockhart coming in here. Eddie and the Cruisers. That's the name of that damn movie. Dark side going and nothing is real. Dum, dum, dum. She'll never know just how I feel. I remember that scene where the chick's waiting. She's like gone nuts or something. She's like, it's him. It's Eddie. He's waiting for me. He's waiting in the car because he used to do like flash his headlights at her window or something. I should go back and see that. Eddie and the Cruisers. Was that a real band? There's your heart there, Bobby. Mike Stelzer has a couple here. Bro, if you saw the restroom at the amphitheater in Lubbock, you'd be praying for a trough to piss in. Oh, really? It's even worse than a trough? I think they do a lot of those at sporting events, places and stuff like that, the big trough, but it's always just, I mean, it's a river of urine that you're staring into. And men are rubbing shoulder to shoulder with you. You know, they're trying to wedge their buttocks in there to, you know, so they can hang over the trough. It's just terrible. All right, there's your heart there, Mike. Mike again here. My grandma had an Eddie Money record when I was a little kid. She would let me jam out while I played with Fort Sam, a Calvary Indians-based Lincoln Logs knockoff. Good times. See, that's what I'm talking about, people. The memories. That's what I like to see in the comments, just personal memories like that, you know? Playing freaking Lincoln Logs and listening to Eddie Money. And Grandma's going, shake it, oh, whoa, whoa, shaking her hips in the kitchen. Oh, she was moving round and round, that girl was shaking. And she's going, Mikey, look at Grandma shaking. Mikey, Grandma making waffles. Don't get the Lincoln Logs out of your mouth. Miss Althea here, the dumbstruck fool says, should I be concerned about the fact that you bring up the damn Wang Doodle chart every time you mention Metal Sludge website? No, don't be concerned about that. It's just bizarre to go read. You know, when you're sitting there and you're just like, oh, look, Rikki Rocket's on here. I wonder what the ladies are saying about him. You know, it's just weird. And I would be curious too, how many rockers, you know, back in the day when it was very extremely popular, that chart, weren't going to do any backstage stuff because they didn't want, their Wang Doodle, on this chart. Anything to keep them straight, right? To keep them out of trouble. Still Miss Althea, there used to be a similar website called Groupie Dirt or something like that, but I think it was taken down a long time ago, if I remember correctly. The intel from that site said Piercy was a lazy lay. Yeah, some of them, it's like, oh, he's got a great big one, but he stinks. You know, Sebastian Bach, great in bed, but he stinks. He doesn't bath for days. You're like, oh my goodness. Still Miss Althea, I saw Kane Roberts play with Alice Cooper in 1986, and I was like, He did not blow me away as a player. However, admittedly, the only reason why I went to that show was because Vinnie Vince and Invasion opened. Oh my goodness. That would have been fantastic. Feed My Frankenstein is everything. That song and the on-stage shtick that goes along with it will never get old for me. Still Miss Althea, the only thing missing from your Aussie impression was Sharon. Yeah. Oh, come on, Sharon. I'm the Babbles. Oh, I'm the Prince of fucking Daphnis. It's the only line I really remember is, you can look that up on YouTube when she's showing Zakk Wylde and the band and Ozzy the new stage setup for the show. It's from the television series. And the bubbles start coming down from the top of the stage, and he's like, oh, Bubbles! Oh, Sharon, fine, I'm the Prince of fucking Darkness! And you go, my God, Ozzy, you're the greats. Still Miss Althea, doesn't Gene Simmons excel at suing? It's a matter of time before Kurt Gooch gets his, for sure. And I guess I live under a rock, but I swear I have never heard of Moneybag Soda, let alone seen any actual bottle of it in a store. The flavor selections are inconsequential. I feel like they would all taste like ink and paper. I agree. I don't think it's very tasty, but the only way to do that is maybe buy some. Maybe do a video, huh? Buy one of each of the money bags. Now, of course, Gene Simmons isn't going to let you just buy one bottle. You got to buy a case. But taste, that might be something, Go, I'll order all them money bag sodas and we'll do a taste test right here. And then Gene Simmons will get the lawyers on me. Still Miss Althea, Eddie and the Cruisers was the movie you were struggling to remember. Yes. I should go watch that again. Does it hold up, or is it one of those movies you remember being good, but it's not? Were you going all the way back to J.J. Walker's catchphrase on Good Times? Dynamite! And now the man is endorsing medical benefits. Call to check your zip code. It's free. Is he? Then there's the nice TV trivia tidbit of Good Times being a spin-off of Maude, which was a spin-off of All in the Family. Yeah, because Maude, what was her name? The Golden Girl? Yes, she was like a snarky neighbor of All in the Family, Archie Bunker. And they went, God, she's so damn good, we got to give her a spin-off. And then from there, yeah, because that was all done by the same guy, and I can't remember his name. Get it in the comments below. He did all of them. He did Good Times, and he did All in the Family, and I want to say he did Love Boat, and he did, what was his name? Norman Mailer. Thank you. Let's see. Good Times, which was a spin-off of All in the Family. Yes, indeedy, Miss Althea. There you go. There's your heart, and you're going to get a thumb. Kenny Aronoff played with John Cougar Mellencamp. And a little stint with Smashing Pumpkins. Oh, okay, so that's the drummer dude. John Cougar Mellencamp. Little pink houses for you and me. Boom, down, boom, boom. All right, that's Tom G there. Tom, did I say your name? That's Tom G. Giving us the info on Kenny Aronoff there. So, there is your heart, my friends, I feel like this was a speedy episode. I was going to put another story or two in there, but then I got a little sidetracked. So, we're going to get onto it. Come on, baby. I hate it when this thing turns off. No. Oh. Yes. Come to the Jive Talkin, come and have fun. Come to the Jive Talkin, come and have fun. Come and let me squeeze your buns. Jive Talkin is a lot of fun. Shane D and the Jive Talkin for free. Having good times and heavy metal goodies, 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 goodies. You can read them easily online, but I do it for you instead. It's called the Rock and Jive Talkin, and we're gonna kill you all dead. Oh, gee.